Hello, my lovely people. It's Saturday. Thank you all for coming. I assume everything's working. We have a lot to cover today, and this is the first of two videos. I'll talk more about that later today because there's simply so much going on. And I know it may appear that the markets are flat and not going anything, but no, they're not. There are things moving in the markets, breaking new all-time highs all the time, and we will uncover some of those as well today. So thank you all once again for coming. So global crypto market 1.63 trillion, down a little bit. 24-hour volume about 45 billion, not too much. Fear and greed fell to 52. It's been in the 60s to 70s for the longest time. It's tanked down to 52. And let me see, Bitcoin right now as I speak, 41,700 on the nose, flat. Ethereum about 24,650. 2465, 2,465, getting all my numbers jumbled up. And dominance, yeah, who cares? Let's go. And it's Saturday. So we have a lot to cover. And as I mentioned, first of two, this is not financial advice. And the story today, there's a lot of weird stuff happening around the world. Gold is at $2,032. And the reason we'll talk about that in a minute too. S&P 500 hit all new all-time highs this week as well, driven by big tech. Meta, all-time high. Nvidia, all-time high. Microsoft employees, I think, were hacked. App makers are boycotting the Vision launch. Sports Illustrated was shut down. Altman raising billions for chip factories. And lots of good stuff, and a lot of good stuff happening at crypto too that I'll talk about as well. And let's look at the last week divided by Bitcoin. You'll see here, Binance up, Tron up, Link up, Ton up, Solana up, Ethereum up, but a lot of red, more red than green. If we look at it in dollar terms, you see Bitcoin actually fell 3% this week. Ethereum, 2.44%. Let me see what else is going on this chart. Solana eked out a little bit of a plus. Binance up 6%. Link up as well. Link is the performer of the week. We'll break that down in a minute too. So far, year to date, Bitcoin, after all the goodness that has happened, is still down 1.2% so far. So not that exciting, but also not tragic. I have never, ever seen anything like the negative sentiment since the last bear market. I mean, it's even worse. People are expecting God candles and $100,000 Bitcoin, and they didn't get that. So they're very upset and very frustrated, but I'll explain why there's no need to be. Also, spot ETF, Hong Kong. Breaking news, Hong Kong-based financial service company VentureSmart wants to launch its spot ETF within Q1, aiming for at least $500 million in AUM by the end of the year. Again, small, but this is one of many ETFs that will launch in Hong Kong in the coming months. Big news. In addition, let's not forget Korea too. The Office of the President of South Korea urges the country's Financial Services Commission to reconsider the possibility of approving a local spot ETF. Everybody wants Bitcoin spot ETFs, okay? It's amazing. They've been around for a long time, places like Sweden and Switzerland and Germany and Brazil. But now US has them, and now everybody else wants them too. And this is from Franklin Templeton. They've been real rock stars lately, but the CEO, Jenny Johnson, and by the way, shout out to the power women of TradFi. Both the leaders of Fidelity and Franklin Templeton are female, and they are rock stars. Just want to, we need to get rid of like the Jamie Dimons of the world and put a nice, strong woman, smart woman in place, but they are ahead of the curve here. And Jenny said the launch of the Franklin Templeton's Bitcoin ETF is a strategic response to increased use of it. And everywhere they look, they see demand from all walks of life, from all their customers, which is big. And there's more. There's going to be Bitcoin options coming in about 27 days at least. And that means that'll attract more money because then people can allocate towards the spot ETF and use options to manage their risk. Always a good thing. In addition, Bitcoin is now 3 of the fastest ever ETFs to hit 1 billion in assets. BTO 2 days. Gold, it took 3 days. IBIT, which is the BlackRock IBIT. Remember, when gold launched, there was just one. Okay, the Bitcoin ETFs is now 11. So it's kind of crazy. IBIT took 4 days. Fidelity took 5 days to hit $1 billion. So these newborn ETFs that were launched just a week ago, literally have done very, very well. And collectively, these now hold, I think, about 40% as much Bitcoin as MicroStrategy holds in just 5 days. It took Saylor 3 years to get to this level of 8 billion in assets. So again, when people say, oh, it's a failure, ETF, no, there is the overhang from Grayscale, which, you know, a lot of people have been kind of figuring out to try to figure out how long will it take for that overhang to disappear. Basically, it's those that have accounts that are retirement accounts where they can actually swap it out tax-free and move into Grayscale or Fidelity, not Grayscale, BlackRock or Fidelity. And they are the ones that are moving. And that makes up somewhere between 10 and 20% of the actual fund. And half of that is almost gone. So it'll be another week, 2 weeks, month, and then it should be all cleared out. And then rocket boosters. So just be patient, everybody. Play where the puck is going to be for all the Canadians out there. Now, in other good news as well, Bitcoin beats silver already in just 5 days, which is stunning. Bitcoin becomes the second largest ETF commodity in the United States, surpassing silver. Again, it's brand new. Silver's been around for a long, long time. I don't know how long. I don't follow silver that closely, but it's been around for a long time. In addition, this is also let me see, from Bitwise. They are now listing the asset in Satoshis. So there's the first issuer to disclose the specific amount of Bitcoin per share. And right now, Bitwise has 54,500 Satoshis per share. And this is very good. It's very important because people are going to have to soon start giving up the dream of ever being a whole coiner. And they're going to need to start thinking in terms of Satoshis as the price of Bitcoin goes up. So exciting times, and a shout out to all the whole coiners out there, but please never disclose who you are. Now, another good news as well, SEC versus Coinbase. This is a quote from an SEC lawyer, and that is, if the SEC during the Howey oral argument had told the Superior Court that folks were investing in an ecosystem of oranges, they would have been thrown out of the courtroom. That's basically the argument. And the SEC has strayed so far from the law, it's laughable and sad if it weren't so damaging. And now the likelihood that Coinbase will win the suit is about 70%. So basically, the overreach of the SEC extends to everything. Stamp collections, Beanie Babies, Pokemon cards, oranges. It's just stupid overreach. And they are being spanked in court, which is good. Now, speaking of Ethereum, shout out to Sanjeev sharing this as well. Ethereum smashes big tech in the path to 10 billion in revenue. And basically, Ethereum hit 10 billion in revenue faster than any other major software company besides Google, which is stunning. And that is revenue from fees. And we know Ethereum is expensive, but to do this in 7 years is kind of stunning. So there is a positive side to a chain being expensive, perhaps. Now let's look at some of the alts as well. Then we're going to break some good news too. L1s, L2s, all the deltas this week. Binance is the only one up for the week. TVL, Aptos wins, but it comes from a very, very low base. And shout out to, by the way, Coinsider. He made a video on ICP and Aptos. Very, very quick little short, and nice work. I'm glad somebody's on my page. Also, Solana is second from the TVL. In the TVL, 7-day fees, Solana's up 88%. Shows you how much the chain is being used. And transactions, Matic is up 18%. And that is kind of what's going on in the L1, L2s this week. In terms of performers, you can see here, this is from our compendium. The winner of the week is Chainlink. Number 2 is Binance. Number 3 is Render. The rest, many things got smoked, including some of the layer 2s down to the very end, Arbitrum, Optimism, etc. But they also had a pretty good run after all the hype around Ethereum over the last couple of days. The winners for the month, say Arbitrum and Maker, top 3. And the bottom 3, VeChain, Immutable X, and Avalanche. So again, interesting mix. I always like to look at the top and the bottom and get a feel for where things go. But remember, if something runs, everything kind of mean reverts. And then other things flock to fill the void. Now let's look at chain flow. Ethereum to Sol chain flows for the week is 2.1x. That means if you had $100 go from Solana to Ethereum, $210 went from Ethereum to Solana. Again, the black hole is still in play, which is pretty stunning and good news. Let's talk about NFT winners as well. 2023 had 2 winners in the whole NFT space. 2 players make up 75% of NFT deployments at the end of 2023, and they are Bitcoin and Solana. So shout out to those things. And they are actually, coincidentally, my dominant crypto positions. In addition, this is a bit of sad news because of all the legal stuff happening in the crypto world. US crypto developers are leaving North America and the US, and also the EU, and they're moving to South Asia, Latin America, Eastern Europe, and Western Africa. That's where these bodies are going. So it's sad to see, but hopefully the government will change some of the regulations and really promote development in both Europe and in North America in the near future. We need the good people in these places, and of course all over the world too, but it's a shame to see such brain drain as well. In addition, another piece of good press out there, Solana is predicted to outperform Ethereum by 500% in the next bull run, according to the co-founders of Glassnode, Jan Happel and Jan Alleman. And the bullish outlook is based on the SOLEth chart, which I forgot to put in here. Whoops, so busy today. But and a recent interview with Henrik Zeberg, and they all expressed confidence in Solana's momentum. And despite the recent retracement down from 135 to it's about 92, 93 now as we speak, but they believe the upward trajectory will continue and Solana will smoke Ethereum this bull run. That'll be exciting. In addition, another good news in what I call the black hole thesis that I have, you can see here Paxos expands to Solana. Paxos are moving their stable coins to the Solana blockchain and is the only blockchain to do this, to be regulated in multiple jurisdictions across the world as well. Paxos is a force to be reckoned with. And just a quick update as well on what I call the black hole. These are chains and big TradFi players that have moved to Solana. You got Aave, Maker, Render. You got Circle for stablecoins, Visa for payments. Now we have Paxos and PayPal coming too. And in fact, shout out to Mert, friend of the channel. It basically talks about what's interesting is PYUSD, which is PayPal stablecoin, will likely launch next, and this feels like more of a tech test than anything else. And again, not that it's nothing burger, but for the TradFi players to get into blockchain, they don't go big bang. They put their toe in the water first before they explode. Now, let's talk about stocks. Very strong week, with the exception of Tesla down 6%, Amazon flat, but Nvidia up 8.5%. TSM 12.82%. TSM makes the chips for Nvidia, by the way. 3.65% for Microsoft, 3% for Google, 3% for Apple, 3% for Meta. Meta hitting all new time highs. It's always amazing how the big, like it's just really bizarre. You've got the Magnificent Seven. Like more than half of them always go up the same percentage. And you can see there's one complete laggard, and that's Tesla. Absolutely stunning, but I see this as a great opportunity to stack. And again, got more last week. So for the number 1 AI company in the world to be trading so low when the number 2 AI company in the world is just smoking it, that's amazing. So maybe it's because sometimes Elon Musk talks too much, which we all know, but I'd rather have a leader be very truthful. Now let's talk about the Nvidia rampage. This chart is nothing short of incredible, up nearly 400% in just over a year. Stunning. And according to the Lilo model, layer 10 is now at $800 on the nose. Actually, $801. The question is, could it go this high? Well, we'll see. But what is even more staggering is this company added a huge amount of value in a short window of time. Maybe because this little brilliant investor here, Nancy Pelosi, she bought call options on Nvidia, made $500,000 in 8 weeks. Well done to her. Unfortunately, we don't get wind of her trades until like 30 to 90 days later, but she nailed it again. It's quite incredible how good they are. And that's one of the great things, by the way, if anybody's looking for a career You will never see a poor politician. So think about politics as a good career. And you get life pensions and all sorts of benefits. And why not? Go for it. In addition, Nvidia added 1/5 of $1 trillion in market cap in just the first 19 days of 2024. And that's not even trading days, ladies and gentlemen. That's days. So you pull out the trading days, it's like 14 or something, or not even. That's insane. And for the first time in history, the company is about to hit that 1.5 trillion in market cap. And it's less than 10% away from passing Amazon as the 5th largest public company in the world. And chip stocks are smashing all new time highs, AMD, TMSC, etc. So impressive time. And this is part of this whole AI revolution as well. I do own a little small slice of Nvidia, but I sold about 80% of it last year. I thought I was getting toppy, but hey, that's how the cookie crumbles sometimes. In addition, for the number one AI player, the Tesla Megapack, a little bit of news here. This is Strata. This is just a small utility in Nevada, I think, in Phoenix, Arizona. No, Arizona, Phoenix, Arizona. And they are going to be deploying the Megapack 2XL battery pack, $500 million. And they're doing these all day long. In fact, they implement it sooner, only it takes time. They got such a backlog of orders to make these things. Expect a little surprise from the energy business in the earnings coming up, I think, real soon for Tesla. Now, Bitcoin miners, they got hammered so far this year, but this is an interesting stat that I like to look at sometimes. This is the distance from the 52-week low. Focus your eyes over on the right-hand side. These are the names that are close to the bottom of the pile, and that's not where you want an asset to be. Kind of like you don't want a crypto asset to be at its 52-week low, especially after 1 year of early bull run. That's what I call the zombie coefficient kind of kicks in, and that means you're looking at a dead asset. But here, HUD 8 is only 14% off the 52-week low, which is bad. And you got things like Mawson, 442% above it. CleanSpark, 237%. Marathon is 214%. Cypher, 176%. What else is there? Riot, 99%. So despite, again, people are kind of losing their minds because it's like, oh, the miners are terrible. They're doing really badly. It's no, when you zoom in, or zoom out, you can see that many are up 300, 400% in a year. Still, after some of them have gone from 13, like CleanSpark went from 13 to $6.50 on Friday, and then it rebounded. But back to HUD 8 here. My miner model, actually, just to show you how good it is, there's actually a direct correlation between my loaded scores ranking and performance of these assets. And you can see here HUD 8 was 4th last in my ranking. So didn't like it, and the model continues to work, which I'm very happy about. In addition, cash on the sidelines, record high. Record high. We have now literally time deposits and money market futures. Money market futures is $6.2 trillion, and add time deposits, $9 trillion. This money has to be put to work. A lot of people are thinking, oh, market's at an all-time high, it's time for it to crash. Yeah, we could have a little dip, but overall, the trajectory is up because we know money printing is happening and money debases. So markets just go up. That's just how it works. With some undulations in between too. US 30-year mortgage is falling down to 6.6%. What's interesting about this is if you look at the average mortgage rate for the 70s, 8.9%, for the 80s, 12.7%, 90s, 8.1%, 2000s, 6.3%, 2010s, 4.1%, and so far, average in the 2020s is 4.6%. We will mean revert to 4.6 and back to 3% again because there's too much debt in the world. Rates have to go down, okay? They will go down. So those of you holding out for a castle, stay patient. And if you find your dream house, don't worry about eating 6%, 6.6% for 6 months or 12 months. It'll be fine. The overall delta in actual mortgage payment you make is not that big, as we've shown many times before. In addition, some fun news. Japan became the 5th country to land on the moon. Woohoo! Well done, Japanese. And that's big news. A little bit of inflation as well. Inflation is down to 3%. It's the lowest level since 2020, which is good. Now, we did have a little bump in inflation a couple of weeks ago, but it looks like the overall trend is down and things are not as good as you would believe in the economy out there as well. In addition, this is kind of a stunning piece of news. El Salvador is a Bitcoin nation, the first ever. Shout out to Nayib Bukele. You can see here now, El Salvador is now safer than the US in terms of homicides per 100,000 people. Well done. That guy is a leader and completely smoked the United States. US is going to win the homicide Olympics right there, and it's crazy. Anyway, moving on, not to get political, I am doing another video in about half an hour. It's part of my new SOLAlt series, and for those of you who do not know, I've got lots of playlists, so we have something for everybody, whether you're interested in macro or real estate or interviews or face-offs, valuations, live things. There's a new one called the SOLAlt playlist. I will be doing the 12 days of Solana alts that I believe have the most potential for this bull run. My plan is real simple. Buy a little piece, tiny piece, hold it for a year. See what happens. They are super high risk. Some of them are very low liquidity too. So be careful, but this is, while we have this quiet period where Bitcoin's flat and Ethereum's flat and Solana's flat, we just play. We take a tiny, tiny, tiny piece of our portfolio and throw it on the table because you asked for it. So I do what the audience wants. And don't forget to subscribe, and do subscribe to that playlist too. If you're interested in this, I'll be doing another video in about 30 minutes. So thank you all for coming. And I'll see you all, for those of you who are interested in this degen stuff. And again, it's super risky. These things, when I talk about risk curve, these things can go to zero real fast. So that is the news, everybody. Lots of positivity out there. You just don't see it. You don't feel it. You don't read it. If you look at mainstream media, you look at FinTwitch, you think the world is ending. It's not. Not at all, everybody. So hang tough. Thank you all. See you all soon. And it says here from Emily, no, I don't like those words, sultans or any of that stuff. Bad, bad, bad words. But I do like to be in consensus trades. That's why we talk about it. And as we showed just with data, Bitcoin, Solana, they're the two big ones. So thank you all for coming. See you all in 30 minutes. Whoever's interested. See you later. Bye-bye.